Hello, hello, everyone. Let me cut my background down. What's up, everybody? I am Wayne, your host, joined as always by my partner in crime, Miss Tiffany. What's up, ma'am?
Not too much. I'm trying to fix my chair. I'm sorry. I should have done this when I was not on the screen.
Yeah. Why didn't you?
Well, because I'm unprofessional. You tell me all the time.
Yeah. Well, we need to do better.
Well, look. Kevin said, "You are so handsome." Hello, princess.
I am handsome. Hey, love you, Kevin. All right. Yeah, that caught me off guard. Don't know where to go from there.
There's only way to go is up, buddy.
What's going on with you, ma'am? How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. I got to see my grandbabies today. I don't get to see them often. Kaylee texted me and she said, Mom, can we come over? And I said, who and how many?
All 13 of them?
She said, me and 4 of the 7. I said, okay.
God.
I said, now you tell them that they got to be good or Nana's going to whoop them. And they'll get a Nana whooping. They don't want a Nana whooping. And do you know what? They sat down on the couch beside me and let me read them Peter Pan.
Now, and did you feel like crap for having to threaten them?
No, not at all.
Those precious little angels that never do anything wrong.
Kaylee always gives them a snack after school, so they had their snack here. And here's Parker. Like, she goes through their book bags when she gets here. Then she pulls out all their snacks. Their teacher sends them snacks. And Parker's just over here busting up into his Easter eggs, just eating some candy. And she's like, I said you can't have any candy. Well, then one boy had it. So then all 3, I want candy. That's not fair. I'm like, oh my God.
That's how it goes.
Yep.
Mr. Tiffany, I know you think I'm better looking. We don't have to. You don't embarrass yourself, buddy. Don't put yourself in the doghouse, okay? Just say it's her. All right, let's. We got 3 folks backstage, and all 3 of those were a part of this past weekend, the camping adventure.
Yep.
Myself, Chris, and Gary were the only ones that were there all 3 nights. David, who is also backstage, joined us the final night, which is when the shit hit the fan. So, yeah, glad we could get those guys on to kind of relive it and tell the story of what happened. But before we get them out, we need to pay the bills.
Yes. Well, let's do it. Let's do it with a quickness because I have been anticipating this show since Sunday, day before yesterday. That day that ends in Y.
There you go. Guys, if you're new to the show, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Please hit that subscribe button before you leave and help us continue to grow the show.
And if you would like to be on with Wayne and I, you can reach out to both of us, Wayne or Tiffany, at paranormalworldproductions.com. Our May calendar is completely empty. We are looking for experiencers or encounter stories to narrate. All of the above can be sent to the emails you see on your screen.
Paranormalworldproductions.com is our website. Please head over there and check it out. All of the other shows under the studio's umbrella. If you are a true crime buff like myself and like Miss Tiffany, most people are, let's be honest. Yeah, the guys, Danny and Brian, have revamped the true crime show over there, and they're doing a great job. So please go check that out. Check out that Bigfoot podcast. I hear that's pretty badass. And this one, pick you up some merch, sign up for the Bigfoot newsletter, head over to paranormalworldproductions.com.
And a big shout out to Danny because today is his birthday. So happy birthday, bro. Yes, happy birthday from your whole entire family on this channel. Tonight, if you have any questions, please put them in all capital letters. I have questions. I'm sure you guys have questions because they teased us so bad on Sunday. Just put them in all caps, please.
Manimalresearch.org is the website for the organization that I founded back in 2019. One of our guests backstage is the administrator. She set up the website. She manages it. handles all the merch, all that stuff. Miss Chris Blaylock, she's done a great job. So I appreciate that so much. But head over and check out the work that she has done over on manimalresearch.org. If you believe you're having activity on your property and someone to come check it out, we would love to be the ones you trust to do that. If you would like to get out and do investigations and be a part of weekends like we just had, we would love to talk to you about that as well. Head over to manimalresearch.org. That's the best way to get a hold of us.
And I say it every week, but our channel family is the best thing there has been since sliced bread and gravy. And that's big. Okay. Gravy, biscuits, and bread is big. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's only $1.99 a month to join the show. And you get so many extra perks. And you're just missing out if you don't join. It's so easy. Just click the join button beside the subscribe button. And you get a wonderful family. Everybody, just the camaraderie is amazing. Plus all your extra perks.
You had to bring up biscuits and gravy. I just want to throw this up there real quick. Look at that.
No way did you have that on cue, not knowing I was going to say it.
Our guest backstage, one of them, Mr. Gary Goonie Goo Goo, he prepared that in a Dutch oven. Look at those biscuits. Look, that's the bottom right there. Not burnt at all. Those biscuits were perfection.
You know what that's going to look real good on my thighs come July.
Oh my God, I would knife out a crackhead for another plate of that right now.
I could go. We live in Roanoke. It's awful in Roanoke City. I would fight a crackhead for that.
All right. Well, lastly, guys, you see at the bottom there, Venmo Cash App is open. You guys have always been awesome at helping us out with super stickers, but last couple months we've been asking you if you don't mind, instead of the super stickers, right on cue. Thank you, Goonie Goo Goo. If you would rather not do the super stickers and help us out with either a Cash App or a Venmo, there they are at the bottom. The reason we ask that is YouTube, they take their fees. They don't mind taking them right off the top, 30-40%, something like that. And they make us wait a month before we get it. If you do the Cash App, the Venmo, the fees are nowhere near that, and they come straight to us, so we don't have to wait. Just another option. If you'd rather do the super stickers, that's fine. We're not going to argue with you. We appreciate your support either way.
100%. And can I just go ahead and apologize for my comment about gravy biscuits on my thighs, because I didn't mean that in a perverted way. I meant when I eat it, it's going to go straight to my thighs.
Well, are you talking about Mr. T's going to eat them off your thighs? Is that what?
Oh my! I'm going. I can't.
You have done that so many times on this show. Put your foot in your mouth in a perverted way.
I didn't mean to. I was sitting here listening to you talk, and I'm like, damn.
That's going straight on my thighs. Okay, well, I'm looking at them differently, but whatever gets you going.
I totally meant when I eat it. Look, I'm embarrassed. I don't have blush on. And I'm red. Oh my gosh.
There's our buddy Walls. What's up, buddy?
Those little sausage fingers. They look like those little sausage links you mix in barbecue.
Oh, God bless him.
Oh, Lord have mercy. That's so bad.
Shit. Okay. Let's get to our guests.
We need to do something. Lord Jesus.
Tiffany's having hot flashes.
It's a hot
We're gonna get them out. Just real quick before we get them out, just what we're gonna be talking about tonight. This past Thursday, we went camping. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Like I said, myself, Chris, and Gary were the only ones that stayed all 3 days. We had multiple people coming and going. A lot of my family, several members of my family was there the first couple of nights. Bobby Sledge and Brittany showed up, and Gary stayed with us that last night. Or not Gary, David stayed with us that last night. So we have Chris, Gary, and David backstage, and we're going to bring them out right now. What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Hello. Hey.
All right. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to come and hang out with us and talk about all the shenanigans that happened this weekend. Everybody doing okay?
Absolutely.
Good deal. Good deal. All right. I guess I just need to kick it off.
Yes.
Get talking about
Get on
something.
with it.
Look at those biscuits.
I mean, they're just pretty.
They're perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the morning that my son Christopher, there he is, little fella, was there, and he is not a big breakfast guy, but he tore them biscuits up. Just biscuits. He wouldn't even put gravy on them. I thought, whose son are you?
I taught you better.
Are you sure you're mine? Do we need to do a DNA test? But yeah, they turned out great. Gary did an awesome job cooking for us all weekend long. He always does. We appreciate it, buddy. All right. Well, let's talk about the first night that we got there. I got there with my daughter Scarlett and her mama Jordan. We showed up, and not an hour later, 30 minutes later, Chris and Gary showed up, and we set up camp and everything. That first night, Chris, you were talking about something happened that first night. What do you remember from Thursday night?
You and I were standing we were all by this creek, and we were standing over there, and I had been hearing things going up. It's a big ridge on the other side of this creek. And I had been hearing stuff going on over there, and I kept flashing the thermal over there. Didn't see anything, but you could hear it. And so Wayne and I are standing there talking, and we get this weird whistle.
Yeah.
Shine the thermal again, nothing, couldn't find anything, but it was an extremely weird whistle.
It was 11 o'clock at night, too. I mean, I don't think it was a bird.
No.
Yeah,
No.
and you guys pay attention. David, do you know anything? I mean, do you know of any birds that are active that late that would whistle?
Mockingbirds.
Mockingbirds, they are?
Yeah.
Okay, and do they whistle?
I was hoping I didn't have an answer, but
David, you're good at raining on people's parades.
No. And it had to be that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one. Can you imitate the whistle?
I cannot. I can't whistle.
David can whistle, but he was not there to hear it, so can't really imitate it. But the whistles will come back to play. I promise. The last night, and guys, it's going to be really boring until we get to that last night, and that's the night that David was there. So we're all going to get to talk about that one.
We did have a strange crow.
Yeah, that crow. What the hell was up with that crow? Bobby, he made a statement that last day that cracked us all up. And we all just were doubled over laughing. He said, what did he say? Does that thing have Down syndrome or something like that? Crow with Down syndrome?
David's not repeating
Yeah,
it.
we ain't gonna repeat it.
And then somebody said it just flew into a tree.
I said it must have flown in a tree and whacked its head or something. Because
This crow, why? We heard it so many times this weekend, and I just thought about this. Why didn't any of us record it?
I was thinking about that the whole way home, and then all day today. There was a number of things that we didn't record or take video of or pictures of, and so I now can understand why some people say, well, this happened, and people are like, well, did you get a picture? And when you're in that moment,
No, you don't think about it.
focusing on that moment, really. I mean,
It's something that David said after an hour being there. He asked us, is there another campsite right up the road or right around the corner? Because I'm hearing talking. It was that fucking crow.
Yeah.
I mean, if that gives you any indication of what this thing was doing, I mean, there was something wrong with this bird.
I thought when I was getting out of my truck, I thought that there were children playing just over the ridge, but I couldn't place it because I thought there's no campsite over there. And when I mentioned it to these guys, they were like, oh no, it's a crow. And they showed me the crow. damn it, if it wasn't this crow making all that weird noise. It sounded like kids laughing, kids screaming.
Yeah, it did. Something else that happened the first couple of nights that Chris noticed was those crazy ass fireflies.
I've never seen fireflies do that before. And I was just amazed at first that, because at first I thought, okay, because Kevin had seen something there before, and I thought, is that what Kevin was seeing before? Because I was seeing
That Kevin has seen.
low lights that they weren't blinking. They were just there. And they didn't stop. Sometimes when they would go up in the trees, go up higher, they would start flashing a little bit. But when they were down low, it was the creepiest thing you could ever see, because it looked like if there was more than one, like there was these eyes that were just following you, or they would stop and just like they were staring at you, they were just looking at you, and then they'd come toward you a little bit. They were the creepiest. You got some creepy fireflies in Tennessee is all I'm going to say.
And they stayed real low.
They did what?
They stayed real low. The ones that stayed on. And if you looked up in the trees, the ones up in the trees are all just sitting there like just like a standard firefly.
Yeah, but the ones down low were just, they'd stay on for a constant long length of time, slowly move, or they were just stationary.
Yeah.
And they did look kind of creepy. But the good news is when I was there with Kevin, so I got to see what Kevin saw. So I can definitively say that those were not fireflies that Kevin and I saw.
Okay, good. I'm glad you put that out there.
Maybe they were just trying to imitate a firefly.
Well, and I thought it was really early for them to be out.
I thought it was early too for fireflies.
I'm from Kentucky, so we're up a little north, and ours aren't out yet at all. So it was just very surprising. But you guys, all your trees are already fully bloomed and everything down there, whereas here it's not either. So, I mean, it could be just the different in the climate that is why they were starting to come out. But they were strange. It was a strange, eerie feeling. It really was.
I think it was David that made the comment, I feel like it's chasing me.
Yeah.
It looked like it was moving towards me, and it was really low, and it was staying lit, and it caught me off guard. I just didn't know what it looked. I didn't know what it was.
Guys, imagine that for just a second, because when we were kids, when I was a kid, when you're outside hunting fireflies, you see one light, stop, and then you got to go into your vision, where'd it go, and then go find it and hope it lights up again to see where it's at. But they only stay lit for like a second at the most. These things were constantly. It's like their little butts was lit up the entire time, and then it would cut off for a second and then start right back.
Well, male fireflies or lightning bugs are the only ones that light up. Females don't. So you might have just had some fireflies that were
feeling a little randy.
They were looking for some females.
I don't know. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
What colors would you guys think that these were? What would you define that color as?
Kind of a greenish.
Bluish.
In my mind, bluish green. Yeah.
A blue green.
Yeah, blue green is kind of what I.
But it wasn't like the regular bright green that you would see.
No.
Okay, because mine here are like bright green.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the ones like we seen behind the truck when you were behind the truck. That one, when it was coming at you, and all of a sudden, then it just started rolling across the road.
I like David.
Yeah.
I literally said, "What the hell is that?" I said, "Watch out! It's coming towards you." I didn't know what it was at first.
Oh,
Yeah, but I mean, they were definitely weird. I don't know what to take away from that. I didn't think that we would be spending this much time talking about creepy fireflies.
It's a learning experience.
It is a learning experience, and that too is something that I was thinking about because I'm kind of the scientific part, but to see if people say, "Oh, I see eye shine," well, is it eye shine or is it some type of natural thing that you're seeing? Do you see an orb or is it a natural thing that's going on that you're seeing? So I'm always trying to debunk it, but I'm telling you, those are the weirdest fireflies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But there was enough of them for us to be able to discern what they were.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was just a singular one.
Oh no.
That would have been creepier.
Yeah. All right, so all of that happens early on in the trip, and I mean the first night, and to be honest, the second night, nothing really major happened. You know, we did the occasional wood knock, didn't get any responses. So I think we should fast forward to the last night when David gets there, and then Bobby and Brittany get there, and we're all hanging out. I start, I don't know why, but I start to doze off in the chair. We're all sitting there talking, and I fall asleep. And the idea of going to the cemetery comes up. Well, they wake me up. Wayne, you want to go? No, I'll stay here and watch camp. So I stayed back. The weird thing was I pretty much woke up after everybody left. I got up, stoked the fire, and messed around the camp a little bit. But y'all were gone for a little while. And y'all went to the cemetery. So I literally cannot speak on what happened at the cemetery. Either one of you guys that want to talk about what happened there, because there was some interesting stuff that happened there from what I heard.
The only one that actually made it to the cemetery was Kevin, because not Kevin, Bobby. We started going up and we were in the wrong spot, and I fell in a hole. And I was so worried about Gary being by himself at the back of the truck. They called me out on that real quick. Let me tell you that I went back. So then we all went back. And then that's when we started hearing some things. And David was very great in sending me some information because I was hearing this scream, but it turned out to be a screech owl, an eastern screech owl. It matched it perfectly when he sent me the video. But there were some other things that started going on there. And I'll let David, because David did a wonderful job there, I'll let him take over from there.
Well, I saw Troy asked a question if we had any animals with us, and I had my 12-week-old puppy border collie with me named Murphy. I was just trying to get him acclimatized to meeting new people and coming out in the woods because I want him to be my camp out buddy. And everyone was super nice, so that was awesome. But when we decided to go out to the cemetery, I brought him with me, and so yeah, there was a little puppy out there. He was on the leash and on the road with us with it blacked out. When we were standing by the truck, Gary mentioned hearing a whistle behind him. So we were kind of looking in that direction and already kind of focused on it. I had my border collie, my herding whistle that I use for training my dog, and I did a couple whistles, and I thought I heard something right when I was whistling. Other people said they heard it, but the whistle that I was blowing, I was kind of like in my way of being able to hear something. So I didn't really hear it, but someone else did. I thought I heard something, but it wasn't clear to me. I thought it may have been an echo. But then a short time later, we heard something that sounded like a thud, and it moved. And then there was another thud, and then it moved, and then there was another thud, and it almost sounded like someone had hit their chest, like a singular, like boom on their chest. And I thought it was kind of cool, so I tried to mimic it, and I did the but not with the just a, and almost immediately we got a response, and then we waited for a while. It was quiet, and then I slapped my torso.
What kind of response did you get, David?
The exact thud that we had been hearing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But then I did the side, like a big, and it carried further than my chest, and it happened again. When I had put Murphy down, he actually started getting nervous, and he started doing this whining thing. So I had to pick him back up and start holding him again. But he had been fine in the dark the entire time up until that section when we started hearing things. Then he started whining, and he wanted me to hold him again. And I was able to, every time we heard a crick, or it sounded like a weird dog sound too. Remember, there was, during the same time period, there was a sound that sounded like a arr, arr. But it was in front of the hill where we were at, not behind it. So I would have thought we would have been able to hear it much better. But Murphy was really interested in all those noises, and he just kept turning and kept turning, but he didn't want to be put back down.
Wow.
And that dog sound, remember on Friday night when I kept saying, I keep hearing a dog, that was the song or sound that I was hearing that was back on that back ridge Friday night. Because I kept thinking there was a dog back there or something.
It was an odd sound if it was a dog. Because it was like, if you want to, the only way I can think about it is maybe it was a half bark.
Right.
You know, like the dog's gonna bark, but then it doesn't get it all out. It was kind of weird. Like it kept getting cut short. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And you did some whistles too there, right?
I did, and that's where someone thought they heard that whistle right alongside. Right alongside the whistle. You know, kind of like as I was doing it, it was like coming back.
Well, when they first took off to go to the cemetery, I was with Sir. I stayed there back with the trucks in the car, and as they were walking into the woods behind me was a whistle to the right side and a whistle to the left side of me. And I spun around, and then when I was looking directly at the mountain, it was to my 10:30 and 1:30, and I just was sitting there just listening to them. And that's only heard those two whistles there while they were gone.
Now, what is that old saying? My son Christopher reminded me of it today when I talked to him, or yesterday. Never respond to a whistle in the woods, or yeah, because that nothing good comes from a whistle in the woods. And there we were, just whistling the hell out of it.
Yeah, it's almost the same pitch as that mountain lion communication whistle that they do that I was whistling.
Oh.
So that's you know, hope they're not nearby.
Now you tell us.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the start of the third night, and that's when all the weird shit started happening. And again, I want to say this before I go into what happened to me. Nothing groundbreaking. There was no sightings, anything like that. Just creepy. Just, I've been in the woods so many times on these investigations, and I have never been as afraid as I was on that third night. So I'm just I'll kind of walk you into what happened to me. So again, I fell asleep at the camp out. They go to the cemetery, they come back, and we're all awake talking for a little bit until we get tired. I think David was the first one that said, me and Murphy are going to go lay down. Chris says, yeah, well, I think we're going to too. So, I mean, that forces me to. I'm the only one there in a tent. Chris and Gary have their camper. David has his truck set up, just a kick-ass setup in his truck. He can sleep and camp in the back of it. He's got cameras all the way around it. He's done a lot to his truck. It's really impressive. It's very cool. So him and Murphy climb into the back of his truck, and I go into the tent. And I lay down on my cot, get in the sleeping bag. It was warm that night, so I didn't even need the sleeping bag. I ended up unzipping and kicking it off anyway. It was, I don't know, I guess about midnight. Would y'all say midnight when we laid down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was about 10 after 12.
Yeah.
Okay. So around midnight.
I got it because I had a recorder going, so I know when I shut the tailgate to my truck.
Okay. So yeah, around midnight, 10 after, we all lay down, and I fall right to sleep. 3 o'clock, or just a few minutes after, I wake up, And that's nothing new to me. Every night of my life, I wake up around between 2 to 3 o'clock. I can't help it. I always do. But on this instance, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I wake up with my stomach turning flips. I had to go. There was no way around it. There was a deuce on deck that I just could not control. Wayne don't poop in the woods. Resto said it last week. There's the answer. Do bears poop in the woods? Yeah, Wayne don't. So the whole weekend, Chris and Gary was awesome enough to let us use their facilities when something like that came up. So yeah, but I can hear Gary snoring from my tent. What about 20 yards away, 10, 15 yards away? And I can hear him snoring. They're sound asleep. There you go. And there's no way I'm going to wake them up so that I can go in there and drop a deuce while feet away from them while they're sleeping. It's not going to happen. And I'm not going to poop in the woods. What does that leave? I'm going to go to the store. So I get in the Jeep and I drive the 25, 30 minutes to the store, do my business. All is great in the world. I pick me up some Advil PM because I know I'm going to have a hard time getting back to sleep when I get there. So I drive back. And guys, let me tell you about this place. Once you turn off of the main highway, you have pavement for a few miles, and then it turns to gravel. And then that gravel turns into just the shittiest road you've ever been on in your life. A drive that should take you 7-8 minutes takes us 25 because you're not getting much over 8, 9, 10 miles an hour at any point on this road. So once it hits gravel, you're going from 30 miles an hour to 5. So you're on that road for the longest. So I'm about halfway through the gravel part when I come up on this truck, and it's a newer, raised up, jacked up truck, big tires, nice truck, but they're just freaking crawling. They're barely moving. And I'm thinking, okay, are they going to pull over and let me pass? But no, they never did. And the creepiest thing about this truck, and I wouldn't have found them driving slow very creepy, but there were people in the bed of this truck that would raise up and then raise back down. And I would see eye shine, raise up and then raise back down. I'm so curious of what the hell this is. Is it a dog? Are there dogs back there? Is this kids, children, people? I don't know. But something is raising up and watching me. But I don't want to get close enough. I don't want to creep them out. So I'm keeping my distance. And they're driving so damn slow. And it was intentional. They had many places they could have pulled over to let me pass, but they wouldn't. So we finally get back to the campground, and I slow down before we get there so that they can be a little bit ahead of me. I don't want them to see where I turn in. Didn't quite work out. They still were able to see where I turned in. But we had a camper there. We had David's truck, my tent. You could tell people were camping there. So I pull in and get out, go back to my tent, take my Advil PM, and I'm sitting there trying to go back to sleep. Not 10 minutes goes by, and I hear something that sounds a lot like someone talking. Couldn't make out what they were saying, and it was far away. But it was coming from, I positioned my tent right beside the creek, because if you've ever slept outside, it's awesome. Especially if you can lay by running water. It's so relaxing, just the feel of Mother Nature, and it just puts you right to sleep. I love it. So that's where I position my tent. And I hear this, what sounded like someone talking, and got my attention. Just a few seconds later, it does it again, and I realized that's not someone talking. That's like a grunt. It sounds like, and it does it a few more times. So there is something outside of my tent. Something is making that sound. There is no mistaking it at all. So I've got my shotgun laid down at the foot, and I've got my pistol beside me, and I grab my pistol, make sure it's chambered and everything, and I'm sitting there, and in this 2 to 3 minute time, it makes it sound several times, and then I hear walking in the water. Something big is walking in the creek right behind my tent. And at that point, like, no. I mean, the place that we're camping is a bear preserve. So it's quite possible that it was a bear. It absolutely could be. I'm not saying it's a Bigfoot. I'm not saying that at all. Get that out right away. This place is a bear reserve. I mean, they protect the bears. You can't hunt them. This is like a bear sanctuary. And bears kind of make that grunt sound, from what I've heard. I've never heard it in the wild unless that's what I heard, but it's scaring the shit out of me. I don't know what to do at this point. I'm thinking I've still got several hours till daylight. There's no way I'm going to make it in this tent. Everyone else has the protection of a camper or a truck. I'm in cloth. That's what's protecting me. So I make the decision I'm going to have to get out and check it out. So I put my pistol in my pocket. I got my shotgun in one hand, flashlight in that same hand, and I'm trying to unzip the tent and do all this stuff as stealthily as possible, which was ridiculous. And I'm trying to get out, not even realizing that if something is out there, they could get me way before I could get to my gun. But I get out, I'm shining the flashlight, I see nothing. What am I going to do? So I walk up to the camper and God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, but I don't know what else to do. So I walk up to the camper and I knock on the door. And I think, Gary, huh? What, huh? What? And I said, hey, it's me. I'm so sorry. There's something out here. They were awesome about it. Gary and Chris were awesome. I knew they would be. I knew they wouldn't have a problem with it. Gary slings the door open after about 10, 15 seconds, comes walking out in nothing but his underwear and a 45. So he's got his blue boxer briefs on and his 45 in his hand, barefoot. Okay, what happened? I'm shining the flashlight. He's looking. He goes back in and he gets the thermal. We walk down to the creek and he's doing the thermal and everything. I'm shining the flashlight. Nothing. There's nothing there. Whatever it was, I'm sure I scared it off whenever I got out of the tent. But yeah, Gary had his gun. I had my gun, thermal, flashlight. We're looking around and there's nothing to be seen or heard at that point. But I know I'm not going back in that tent. It's not going to happen. And the driver's side on my Jeep, the lock is messed up on my Jeep. I cannot lock my driver's side. So I'm thinking I'm going to go sleep in my Jeep without being able to lock it. That sucks. So I mention it, and Gary graciously offers, oh, go sleep in my truck. So they give me the keys, get in the truck, and crack the windows, lay the seat back and everything. Finally, an hour or so later, I end up going to sleep. Wake up the next morning and nothing else had happened. But that hour or so, from at 4 o'clock, about 4:15 is when it really started after I got back from the store, was the most scared I have ever been in my entire life, maybe, especially on one of these outings. And I don't know what it was. Any y'all have any ideas?
No.
Well, I can tell you that I had that recorder that was about 100 yards, 120 yards from our camp, and it was situated right next to the creek. It picked up your Jeep coming and going. I got that.
That was about 3 o'clock.
Yeah, it did not pick up anything else going through the creek during that time. It's like just dead silent except for a couple owls.
And that was positioned, how far would you say from my tent?
About 100, 120 yards.
120 yards. So if it would have been right behind my tent, it wouldn't have picked it up anyway.
No, but if it used the same, it's right there on the creek.
If it would have walked down the
creek, yeah,
it would have picked it up. Yeah.
So unless it came from a different direction, or just wasn't in the creek the entire time, but you can tell when something, like when a slight stick falls, you can tell there's like a raccoon or something really small going along the creek at some point. So nothing large or anything like that.
Okay, and something else you did, David, which was awesome. It was the first time you used them on one of our outings. Was this camera setup that you bought? Tell everybody about that camera setup.
So on a whim, I like to camp by myself too, and I'm kind of like Wayne. I don't. That's how the whole truck thing started. I didn't want to be in the tent by myself, and then I outfitted my truck so I could sleep inside it. And then I quickly realized that I basically made it so I had no avenue of escape. So anybody could walk up, and even if it's locked, I'm still trapped inside this truck. So I outfitted it with a security camera system. Basically, all it is it's a dash cam for big rigs. They have 4 cameras, so it's constantly recording. So I put that out. But I found a secondary camera system that operates just via its own internal Wi-Fi system, so you don't need connection with the internet. So they're battery-powered cameras. When you buy them, they come with little solar panels that you can keep them recharged. But I've did a bunch of testing here at the house, and the cameras themselves will stay going for 3 to 4 days without needing to be recharged. And then it comes with a little monitor that can either be plugged in or battery-powered.
Yep.
The batteries only last for like 4 or 5 hours a piece, but you can monitor them all at the same time. So how they work is they're motion censored. So if anything walks across it, it actually will trigger the camera, and it records everything. So my issue that night was, everything I've been focusing on Murphy, like when I grabbed Murphy and we went out to the cemetery, I forgot to bring a recorder with me, which is like a standard thing I throw in my pack and bring with me. And I was so concentrated on taking care of him that I forgot to do the normal things I do. So the same thing with the camera system. So for Wayne, for all that stuff that happened, I had that camera on his tent. And the batteries died around 2:30.
Yeah, what the hell is up with that?
And I forgot to, when I brought it to the truck, I forgot to bring the power cord. And once I got all in bed and started looking at it, I was like, oh, maybe the batteries will last a little bit longer. And they didn't.
So they died about 2:30, and I went to the store at 3.
Yes. So my bad.
It's fine. It's fine. So, I mean, to summarize, you have your truck outfitted, which is badass. You have your truck outfitted to where you have a 360-degree view around your truck at any time. So you're laying in the back in a bed, this bed that you built, mattress and everything, with all this awesome shit you have in there, with a monitor that's showing you everything going on around your truck. And then you also have these 4 cameras that you can put out. And how far, what's the range? How far away?
So I saw that time when we were at a camp. I think I had them out about 60. Was it? I think the furthest one wasn't about 60 yards from.
It was a good ways. Yeah.
Yes.
So my thinking on that one was I have the other 4 that I can watch the perimeter of my truck.
Yeah.
But on those, if I have a trail or something that's coming up towards the truck or a road, like I positioned one of them watching the road, and then so every time a car went by, it recorded every single car that went by. Or I can put them out and watch trails or access points to the camp. So I have a few extra eyes.
Yeah, which is just an awesome tool. We're going to invest in that for Manimal to have our own set, so that when we do these things, it's going to be awesome. I mean, especially when you come, David, and we have our own, we'll have 8 cameras.
Oh yeah.
that we'll be able to put out. And that's an awesome investment. And it's not a whole lot of money, right? Like $300, you said?
Yeah, I think I sent Chris the link for the original monitor. It comes with 2 cameras, and then each additional camera is like $50, I think.
Okay.
So I think it totals just a little over $300 or $350 somewhere in there.
God, you can't beat that, man. Just for
it was on a whim. I just wanted to test it and see, and I played with it for weeks out in my backyard, and it worked wonderfully.
Yeah.
The thing is, you need to get those attachments for it too.
Oh yeah, the little rubber things that I put on there so I could attach them to the branches and the trees.
So you bought those separate, right?
I did.
What do they come with to secure them?
The typical security camera round mount with screws.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I knew. Yeah, that's why at first I ran 550 cord through the screw holes, and it just wasn't secure. It was kind of floppy. And then I found those rubber things that just screw right into the back, so you could just twist them around the branch and hold them.
It worked perfectly. They were perfectly stationary. They didn't move. So yeah, that was a great investment in my opinion. So what I started out saying, you have your cameras surrounding your truck, so you can see anything coming up to your truck. We also had those 4 cameras showing the exterior, like up 60 yards or whatever away.
Yeah.
So you can get a good view of anything that comes in and out of your camp.
Oh yeah. And you'd be surprised the first time I used it, I had so many like cats and raccoons and possums and all these things that you're just unaware of. The 5 feral cats was the weird thing for me. The first time I was like, where did these come from? I'm in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, you got to tell us what the hell? What are you talking about? I haven't heard this story.
Oh no! The first time I went camping by myself with those 4 cameras I had mounted to the truck, I just had like regular house cats coming out of the woods and into camp, checking my fire, checking the cooler, and I was thinking, I'm in the middle of a national forest. Like, where are all these cats coming from? So now, it's one more thing to add to your brain of when you hear strange noises or something. There could be a feral cat out there that a coyote hasn't gotten yet. So I don't know.
I need to look up on YouTube like the sounds that a feral cat can make, because I bet they're fucking creepy. I wonder if we've heard some of those at times that we thought may could be something else.
I don't know. I think cats are pretty distinctive.
Yeah. I have 2 of them, and I haven't heard them scream like that either.
I mean, have you ever heard of cats mating?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That scream that the female lets out, oh my God, it's terrifying. Yeah, we can move on from that.
But we didn't see much wildlife really at all. I mean, there was the turkey the one night that
I've never seen wildlife there, Chris, to your point.
I know, it's just weird that we didn't see any deer, though there were deer tracks, but we didn't see any deer. For it to be a bear preserve, but Bobby said that's on the other side of the mountain.
And didn't he say there was a bear that they were hunting?
Yeah, they were hunting a bear that kept going.
Problem bear,
but it was on the other side of the mountain, not where we were at.
And after the first night, I found those tiny cute ass prints on your trailer. Y'all had a raccoon come and check you out, and y'all had heard something.
Yeah.
And that segues into the shittiest part of the trip. And I felt so fucking bad for you, Gary and Chris, because the amount of money y'all spent just on this trip, it had to have been crazy. And then just the unexpected expenses. I think it was Friday. Me and Jordan, Scarlett's mom, and Scarlett was in the backseat of the Jeep. We were going out to town. We told Scarlett we'd take her to get some ice cream. And we see this square piece of metal. And Jordan says, somebody lost their trailer hitch. But there was no ball connected to it. But you could tell that's what it was. It's like, yeah. So we just keep going. We get back later that evening, and it hits Gary. We're talking. We're having a conversation, and he just stops. And he's completely silent. Like, what the fuck does he see? And he's like, my trailer, my ball's gone. My trailer hitch is gone. Someone fucking stole his trailer hitch while we were there. And this isn't no regular trailer hitch. Gary, tell him about, like, it's like $200-$300, right?
Yeah, it's one that just transfers the weight off the truck itself, sends it back puts it on the trailer.
So you've got this square tubing that slides in, and then your trailer hitch goes in with it.
Yeah, because my truck takes a 2.5-inch receiver. And
so someone took your hitch, the ball, and left that little piece. And when you guys were leaving, because y'all left before us that day, 30 minutes before us, going the same way. So the rough road that we talked about earlier must have jarred it free, and it fell out. And then Jordan made that comment, someone lost their trailer hitch. And it was you.
Yeah.
So someone either jacked it at camp, which that first night I heard something around your truck. I asked y'all the next morning, what were y'all doing at the truck at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning? Because I always wake up around 2 or 3 o'clock, and someone was doing something around your truck. I know they were. I just didn't get up. I figured it was one of y'all getting something.
Yeah.
But again, y'all went to Walmart and said there were some sketchy fellas eyeballing your truck.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know where it happened.
Maybe those people that were in front of you that night driving real slow had something to do with it too.
Yeah, I mean, that was a couple of days after all of this happened. But I mean, it could have been the same people. But it seems to me like if it would have happened at Walmart, you would have lost that square before you got to camp.
Oh, that's true.
Well, that insert sleeve, I mean, yeah, you could have.
Sleeve, yeah.
But I think it's because all the bouncing, as David can testify to. And
It's rough.
Poor Murphy.
I'm still tired from that drive.
Yeah, David was camping with his buddies, like his cop buddies, down in a different area in Georgia, and they ended it a night before ours. So he drove up to hang out with us that last night, and his GPS took him the back way. And
it only said 24 miles.
Oh my God!
But it was just the bouncy dirt road the whole way.
Yeah, that sucks.
3 hours of dirt roads.
Oh, shit.
Craters.
Anyway, so how much did you have to spend? I mean, hey, y'all imagine, keep this in mind. They're coming from Kentucky all the way down to Tennessee, and they're pulling this camper. They can't get home without the ball hitch.
Mm-hmm.
And some piece of shit just stole it. Just completely pulled up while they were either asleep or shopping, we don't know which, and just stole it from them. How shitty is that?
Yeah.
I mean, crack's expensive, I hear, but I mean, my God. So y'all had to replace it. How much did you have to spend extra, Gary?
Yeah, a couple bucks. I mean, no big deal.
$2?
Yeah. I still haven't replaced it. I bought something just to get the trailer back.
Did everything go all right on your way home?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what you bought to replace it wasn't as nice as the one that was stolen, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
works.
I hate that happened to y'all, but it just shows that people are shitty.
That just see that's just camping memories. So,
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
Always an adventure.
always an adventure.
we'll go to work again tomorrow. We'll make more money. We'll buy another one.
Yeah. Like going into Walmart for marshmallow sticks and coming out with a Blackstone grill for the camp out.
There you go.
Walmart has that effect.
It was an impulse buy.
That was.
Somebody let their intrusive thought win. Like, wow, we need this now.
All right. I just noticed we have several questions. Let's get to those real quick. First off, Goonie Goo Goo, thank you, buddy, for your regular $1.99 super sticker. Ristel gifted 1 Paranormal Odyssey membership. Thank you so much, buddy. You are the man. Kevin Bode, do you have Nighthawks there?
And BigFrog.
I
That
don't
could have
know.
been whistling.
Do y'all know
I
if
don't
they're
know.
like indigenous to the area?
Just owls is all that I know is there for sure. And Down syndrome crow.
So, Kevin, to answer your question, I'm going to have to Google that. I don't know if they are in that area, but are they active? I mean, do they make that kind of sound? I don't know. We need to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ristel. Woodcock will also whistle at night if they are disturbed. Okay.
I'll have to look that one up.
Good to know. Troy, get a cheap voice recorder or 10 and run them all weekend. Thanks for the advice, buddy.
Just didn't put it out.
Yeah, we have them. That would be cool to have several of them running all weekend just to capture everything that happened. But who's gonna be honest? Who's gonna sit through that audio? You have time to sit through, 72 hours of audio.
While I'm typing at work, I have it playing on those high-end headphones, and I'm just listening.
Nice.
I scroll through real fast to see if there's anything on the spectrogram, and I check those. And then once I find that there's nothing there, that's when I just hit play and just let it go.
Okay. Well, we're gonna send you everything from now on.
No, I'm listening to mine.
All right. Who's next? Kevin, what's up, buddy? Was it similar to the how we heard the first time we went there, Wayne? I would say similar. Close. I would say close. I don't know. I don't know. I would say it would be similar to what we heard that first time, and that was several years ago. So yeah. Also, Kevin, when you said 2 years ago that BigFrog creeped you out, yeah, BigFrog still fucking creeps me out, even more so now. Troy, how far away was the nearest person to you, Wayne? The nearest person was Chris and Gary. How far away would you say you guys were? 30 feet, 40?
25, 30 feet.
Yeah.
25, 30 feet. Yeah. But again, they had the security of a camper. I had cloth.
And Chris was snoring so loud I couldn't hear nothing anyways.
Are you sure that was Chris?
Uh-uh.
All right, Mr. T. How far was your Jeep from your tent, Wayne? Before everything happened, when I got up to go to the restroom, it was a good ways away. Probably about the same as the trailer was. So 30 feet away. But when I got back from the restroom, I parked closer. So within like 15, 20 feet. So yeah, hope that answers your question. Troy, do David's cameras run IR?
Yes.
Short and sweet. I like it.
Oh, we should mention that before we all went to bed, I had done a bunch of whistles and tree knocks.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Let me get through these questions and we'll talk about that before we get out of here. All right, Kevin Jones, is it possible that is who you heard in the creek? Who? I don't understand, but
Is it possible that the person who stole the hitch off of their truck was who you heard in the creek?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess anything is possible. Also, I talked about the creepy ass people in the truck in front of me. I don't think it was them because they would have had to been some damn wood ninjas to get there as quickly as they did without being seen or heard. So I don't think it was the same people. No. And last one, Troy. Is it possible that red wolves have occupied the area? I haven't heard anything about wolves.
We did find coyotes.
We saw some dog prints, some like similar to dog prints, right?
Yep. But they were small. They weren't as big as my dog's print. So that's why I was saying coyote.
I remember asking, I mean, there's no wolves around here, right? So I don't know. We need to look into that. But everything I've heard, there are no wolves in that area. But yeah, David brought up a really good point. Before we lay down, he did some knocks and some whistles and stuff. David, you want to talk about that?
Sure. I tried blowing the that dog whistle that I have, and to be clear, it's not like the high pitched dog whistle. It's one of these kinds right here that's used for herding dogs. So you can
all
different types
hear
of
it.
tones and stuff like that. I only did 2 tree knocks. One it was kind of dampened and it wasn't as loud, but the other one carried really, really well. On the recorder, it sounds like I'm like right there, 100 yards, 120 yards away. It picks it up really good. But you can hear a very, very faint, it sounds like a wood knock coming back. And apparently I sent it wrong to Wayne because he can't really hear anything. But on my end, wearing my headphones, I could hear it clear as day. And around 10:30, you can hear what sounds like somebody scream off in the distance. It's short and like really short and sweet. But again, I did it all wrong. I'm just going to have to redo it so you can hear it.
I could barely hear the scream. And when I tried to play it through the soundboard before we came on, none of the guys on here could hear it. So we didn't share it tonight, as well as the wood knocks. We could hear the ones we did, but apparently there was a return. There was a response.
Yes.
We couldn't hear it on the recording. You could hear it, but I mean, it barely came through on my end.
I'm going to figure that out. And I'm going to get it to you because if I can hear it clearly one way, then there's a way to record it to make it so you can.
Yeah. And as soon as we get that, we will share it with everybody.
And he did get those responses when we were up by the cemetery as well. He did have some, whatever it was, he had some type of interaction out there as well. And we got back probably around, 10 o'clock?
10:30, 10.
Between 10 10:30 that we got back from being up there. So that makes some sense.
And when y'all got back to camp, he did another whistle that immediately, like within 2 seconds, something whistled back.
Yep.
And we all heard it.
Yep.
Let me ask you a question real quick. If it were a Bigfoot, what is the correlation with cemeteries?
Great question.
I don't know.
Well, I can say this: the sounds weren't coming from the direction of the cemetery.
No, it was opposite direction.
Well, there's that.
Across
There's that.
the valley.
It was.
But you hear, to Tiffany's credit, you hear a shit ton
Yeah.
of reports from activities coming from cemeteries. And I've heard stuff when I was close to a cemetery. I don't know what it is. I've asked that question. I've speculated. Do they know it's a place that we go to pay respects to our dead? And I don't know. I have no
Yeah.
idea.
I don't know. Y'all are just far more experienced in this than I am. So
Well, get out in the woods, woman.
what is it?
And one other thing I want to mention. First off, I absolutely love Murphy. He is now the
He's
cat
awesome.
group.
Murphy's cool.
He's a great dog. But he also, when David was holding him and we were out there by the truck, he was hearing something and turning his head. He was recognizing something. And that's when he got a little nervous.
Yeah, they say dogs can pick up on that stuff way before we can. All right. We went through the questions. I don't know that there's anything else we can really add to it, unless any of you guys have anything you want to talk about.
Kevin wants to know if Gary's a believer now.
Well, Gary,
I didn't see anything. I heard things. I can't identify what they were.
okay. So you're,
In progress.
yeah, we're heading in the right direction.
I mean, I heard something, but other than that, I mean, I don't know what it was. It could have been like somebody saying the nighthawk or whatever, or I don't know what it was. The only thing that really messed with me was those stupid fireflies.
They were creepy.
They were creepy. All right, David, Chris, Gary, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
I'm ready for the LBL.
Yes, ma'am. David?
No. I was reading questions over here to the side, and real quick, I'm using Audacity, that free thing.
That free thing.
It's worked beautifully for a long time.
Yeah, I use it for every episode that I put out. I edit. That's how I edit my episodes. So it's awesome.
Oh yeah, we can get Mr. T out there.
Yeah, we'll
That's
get.
right.
Well, we can get Mr. T.
Yeah, when is LBO? That's May 16th.
17th. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, we'll talk more about that in the upcoming episodes, upcoming weeks. Again, thank you guys so very much. David, Chris, Gary, or Goonie Goo Goo. Thank you guys for taking the time to hang out with us. We appreciate it. As always, we love you. We thank you. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. I love to see them.
Yeah.
Like physically see them.
They're awesome.
I know. I'm gonna lead you on to everybody in Tennessee. I don't want to go. I'm gonna cry like a bitch. I don't want to go.
I can't wait. It's sneaking up on us. It'll be here before you know it.
I can tell you. Hold on. I have a countdown timer.
All right.
So I'll tell you. I'm sorry. I have a lot of pages on my phone. Oops. Sorry. That's the beach. 92 days, 2 hours, 50 minutes, and 9 seconds.
92 days.
92
All right.
days. Yep.
All right. You got anything before we get out of here, ma'am?
I don't. Come back and see us. What is today? Tuesday? We have a show Saturday?
Mr. T apologizes in advance for your behavior.
Yeah, no. He has to do that frequently. No, we don't have a show this Saturday. So if you want to be on the show with us this Saturday, that would be awesome. We do have Miss Brooke Moreland coming on the 29th. So definitely come back for that one.
Awesome. All right, guys. We appreciate it. Please hit that like and subscribe if you haven't done so. And we will talk to you guys soon. Until we see you again, y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Bye.